I found out my husband was having dinner with his mistress, so I booked the table right next to theirs and brought her husband to watch everything with me. Hit like and subscribe to support the channel. The sting of betrayal can hit like a freight train, leaving you to decide whether to crumble or rise and fight. For Emily Harper, that train came disguised as a text message on her husband's phone on a seemingly ordinary evening in their cozy home in Buckhead, Atlanta. At 38, Emily was a woman who seemed to have it all together: a thriving career as a landscape architect, a 10-year-old daughter named Lily, and a 12-year marriage to Michael, a charming corporate lawyer who could light up any room with his quick wit. They were the couple everyone envied at neighborhood barbecues, with their shared laughter, weekend getaways to the Georgia coast, and promises to grow old together. But that night, while Michael showered after a late day at the firm, his phone buzzed on the living room coffee table. Emily, who'd never been one to snoop, felt an odd chill, like fate was nudging her towards something dark. She grabbed the phone, saw the notification, and against her better judgment typed in the passcode: Lily's birthday. What she found wasn't just infidelity. It was proof her entire life was a lie. The message was from a woman named Jessica, a marketing director at a firm that partnered with Michael's company. "Can't wait for dinner at the Rooftop Bistro Saturday, 8 p.m. The table by the skyline will be perfect, babe. Babe." The words sliced through Emily like broken glass. She opened the chat and uncovered months of texts, late-night meetings, photos of Jessica in outfits Emily would never wear, plans for a weekend in Savannah that Michael had passed off as a work trip. Emily's world tilted. How had she missed the signs? The evenings Michael came home late, smelling of cologne that wasn't his, the way he'd zone out during Lily's bedtime stories, glued to his phone, the sudden obsession with CrossFit and tailored suits she thought were for impressing clients. It all clicked, and the truth felt like a weight crushing her chest. Michael emerged from the bathroom, humming a tune, and asked where his navy blazer was. Emily, heart pounding, set the phone back down and answered with a calm she didn't feel. "In the closet, left side." He flashed a grin, oblivious that as he got dressed, Emily was making a choice. She wouldn't confront him there, not with Lily coloring at the kitchen table. She wouldn't give him the chance to spin more lies. Emily was a planner, always had been. If Michael thought he could live a double life, she'd show him he'd underestimated the woman he married. That night she barely slept, replaying every moment of the past year, searching for clues she'd overlooked. The next morning, after Michael left for work and Lily headed to school, Emily got to work. She called the Rooftop Bistro, a swanky spot atop a downtown hotel with a view of Atlanta's glittering skyline, and confirmed Michael's reservation. Posing as his assistant, she booked the table next to his, saying it was for a business dinner that might join his party later. The host, eager to please, promised a spot with a clear view of Michael's table. Then Emily dug deeper. She learned Jessica was married to a civil engineer named David, who ran a mid-sized construction company. A quick LinkedIn search revealed his profile: a 40-year-old with a warm smile, posting about charity runs and trips with Jessica. Emily considered calling him, but opted for a subtler approach. Using her credentials as a landscape architect, she emailed David, proposing a meeting to discuss a landscaping project for one of his developments, suggesting dinner at the Rooftop Bistro that Saturday. David replied within hours, polite and intrigued, confirming he'd be there. Emily closed her laptop and for the first time in days smiled, not out of joy, but resolve. Michael wanted a romantic dinner with his mistress? She'd make it unforgettable, just not for the reasons he expected. Over the next few days, Emily lived a double life of her own. By day, she kept up appearances, dropping Lily off at school, sketching designs for clients, cooking dinner. By night, she planned every detail of Saturday. She watched Michael with fresh eyes, catching how he avoided her gaze when she asked simple questions, like he feared slipping up. On Thursday, over breakfast, he mentioned the dinner casually. "Got a client thing Saturday night, might run late. Don't wait up." Emily nodded, slicing strawberries for Lily's lunch. "No worries, I might grab drinks with Sarah." Michael barely looked up from his phone. "Sounds good, hun. Have fun." Emily felt a surge of anger, but also relief. He had no clue what was coming. On Friday, she went to the salon, getting a sleek bob that framed her auburn hair and a subtle makeup look that highlighted her hazel eyes. She chose a sapphire blue dress she'd bought for a gala, but never worn because Michael called it too bold. She paired it with heels he'd once deemed impractical, stashed a weekend bag in her car trunk, and left a note for Lily, saying she'd be with a friend and that Grandma would pick her up from school. Emily didn't know how the night would unfold, but she knew she wouldn't sleep at home after. She arrived at the rooftop bistro early, sipped a bourbon at the bar, and watched the entrance. Michael showed up at 7:45, sharp in a charcoal suit she'd picked out for him. He was fidgety, checking his watch, straightening his tie. Emily's chest tightened at the sight of the man she loved looking so alive, so unlike the distracted husband of late. Then Jessica walked in. Tall, with sleek brunette hair and a red dress that hugged her curves, she glided to Michael's table. He stood, kissed her lightly, and pulled out her chair. Emily looked away, swallowing the lump in her throat. Minutes later, David arrived. He matched his photos, broad-shouldered with an easy confidence. He shook Emily's hand warmly. "Emily, great to meet you. Excited to hear about this landscaping idea." She smiled, leading him to their table, angled perfectly to observe Michael and Jessica without being obvious. As David talked about his company, Emily kept one eye on the other table. Michael and Jessica held hands, laughing at some private joke. Their closeness was electric, each moment a fresh wound. Emily forced herself to nod along to David's words, pitching her sustainable garden designs, but her focus split. When Jessica excused herself, likely for the restroom, Emily saw her opening. "David, give me a sec. Need to make a quick call." He nodded, pulling out his phone. Emily slipped to the hallway near the restrooms and waited. Jessica emerged, smoothing her dress, and froze when she saw Emily. Recognition hit. She must have seen Emily in photos at Michael's office. "You're Michael's wife, aren't you?" Jessica's voice shook. Emily folded her arms. "And you're David's wife, who's sitting at my table, clueless about all this." Jessica paled, glancing toward David's table. "Please don't do this here." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Why not? Isn't this the perfect setting? Candlelight, city views, a cozy date with my husband?" Jessica reached for Emily's arm, but she stepped back. "I can explain. It's not what you think." Emily's laugh was sharp. "You think I'll buy that? I saw the texts, Jessica, the trips, the photos, the life you're building while wrecking ours." Michael appeared in the hallway, his face ashen. "Emily, what are you doing here?" He tried for casual, but his voice cracked. "Having dinner, Michael, like you." David approached, puzzled by the scene. "Emily, everything okay? Who are they?" Emily took a deep breath, bracing for the moment. "David, this is my husband, Michael Thompson. And this is Jessica. I believe you know her." David's face shifted from confusion to raw realization. He stared at Jessica, who looked down, tears falling. "Jess, what's going on?" His voice was a broken whisper. Emily watched, expecting to feel triumph, but only sadness came. David's pain mirrored hers. "Maybe we should take this somewhere private," she suggested, noticing other diners' stares. The manager, sensing the tension, offered a small meeting room. "We can combine the reservations if you'd like," he said smoothly. Emily nodded. "Please, we need a place to talk." They were led to a room with a round table, away from the main dining area. Emily and David sat on one side, Michael and Jessica on the other. The silence was heavy, broken only by the clink of water glasses as a waiter poured and left. "How'd you find out?" Michael asked Emily, his voice low. "Does it matter?" She shot back. "What matters is you thought you could fool me forever." David turned to Jessica, still reeling. "Were you ever going to tell me? Or just keep lying?" Jessica sobbed, mascara streaking. "I don't know, David. I swear I didn't want to hurt you." Emily crossed her legs, composed. "It's easy to say that now, caught red-handed. But for months, you chose to lie, to plan, to live a fantasy at our expense." Michael tried to speak. "Emily, I didn't mean to hurt you. It was just a fling." David let out a bitter laugh. "A fling? How long have you been with my wife, man?" Emily answered for him. "Almost a year, David. I saw the texts." They were planning trips, even looking at condos together. David ran a hand over his face, like he was trapped in a nightmare. "A year, Jess? How could you?" Emily pulled a hotel key from her purse and set it on the table. "I booked a room across the street, Michael. I'm not sleeping at home tonight. When I'm back Monday, I want you gone. Pack your stuff and go." Michael's eyes widened. "You're kicking me out? After 12 years? No, Michael, you kicked yourself out when you decided our vows meant nothing." She looked at Jessica. "He's all yours now. No sneaking, no thrill. Just the reality of a man who cheats when it suits him." Emily stood, smoothing her dress. "David, I'm sorry you found out like this. You deserved better." David nodded, dazed. "Thanks, Emily." She paused at the door. "Oh, the bill's on Michael's corporate card. Enjoy." She walked out head high, crossing the restaurant and heading to the hotel across the street. In the room, with its sleek decor and view of Atlanta's skyline, Emily collapsed. Sitting on the floor, clutching her knees, she cried as she hadn't in years. She wept for the girl who dreamed of forever love, the woman who trusted broken promises, the mother who now had to shield Lily from a fractured future. The tears cleansed her pain, bringing a clarity she hadn't expected. She wasn't the victim. She was the woman who faced betrayal with courage. The hotel room, with its panoramic view of Atlanta's twinkling lights, felt like a temporary sanctuary for Emily. Her tears had dried, leaving exhaustion but also a newfound resolve. Sitting on the floor, knees pulled close, she glanced at the clock, nearly midnight. The city outside pulsed with life, and somehow that steadied her. Atlanta, with its relentless energy, seemed to whisper that life went on, even when your heart was in pieces. Emily stood, smoothed her sapphire dress, and grabbed a water from the minibar. She needed to think about the next steps, not just for herself, but for Lily. How would she tell her daughter that her dad, her hero, had betrayed their family? How could she protect that 10-year-old heart from such a brutal truth? Before she could spiral too far, a soft knock at the door snapped her back. She hesitated, half expecting Michael with empty apologies. Peering through the peephole, she saw David, his face etched with the same pain she carried. He looked lost, hands in his pockets, shoulders slumped. Emily opened the door just enough to meet his eyes. "David, what are you doing here?" He rubbed his neck, sheepish. "Sorry for just showing up. I couldn't go home. Don't know where to go, honestly. You mentioned the hotel, and I asked the front desk for Emily Thompson. Might have said I was your husband to get your room number. Sorry about that." Emily almost smiled at his awkward honesty. In another moment she might have been annoyed, but tonight normal rules didn't apply. They were strangers bound by shared betrayal, a connection that defied etiquette. "It's okay," she said, opening the door fully. "Come in. Neither of us is exactly thriving right now." David stepped inside, hesitant, and they sat in armchairs by the window, the city glowing below. He stared at the lights, searching for answers that weren't there. "Did you ever suspect?" he asked, voice rough. "About Jessica, I mean. Were there signs you missed?" Emily thought back, sifting through months of memories. Part of me knew something was off. Michael was distant, always on his phone, barely listening when Lily talked about her day. But I didn't want to believe it. "You? Did you suspect her?" David shook his head. "Jessica was always so engaged. She'd tell me about her day, laugh at my dumb jokes, plan our vacations. But looking back, she started having more girls' trips, staying late at work. I trusted her so much, I never questioned it." He gave a bitter chuckle. "That's what makes it so brutal, right? They use our trust against us." Emily nodded, the truth of his words sinking in. "They get to live their fantasy while we deal with the fallout, but now the fallout's on them." They sat in silence, the weight of the night settling around them. Then David asked, "What's your next move? With Michael? With everything?" Emily exhaled, staring at her hands. "I meant every word I said back there. I'm not backing down. He's out of the house, and I won't pretend this didn't happen. Not for 12 years of marriage, but for me and Lily. She deserves a mom who respects herself." David looked at her with something like awe. "You're tough. Tougher than me, I think. I don't know what to do about Jessica. 7 years married and now this. No kids, at least, makes it a bit easier, but not less painful," Emily added, and he nodded. eyes glistening. Without thinking, she reached out, touching his hand in a small act of solidarity. "You don't have to decide tonight, David. One step at a time." He held her hand briefly, like he needed that human connection to keep from breaking. "Thanks, Emily, for everything. For opening my eyes, even if it hurts like hell." They talked for hours, not just about the betrayal, but about their lives. Emily shared her love for designing gardens that brought calm to chaos. David spoke about his passion for eco-friendly building, his dream of leaving a greener footprint. They touched on lighter things too. Emily's obsession with jazz, David's quirky habit of collecting vintage concert posters. It was as if they needed to remind themselves they were still people, not just casualties of deceit. Around 2 a.m., David stood. "I should try to sleep, or at least pretend I can." He paused at the door. "Can I call you tomorrow? Just to, I don't know, check in?" Emily smiled, scribbling her number on a hotel notepad. "Sure, and if you need to talk, I'm here." He left, and Emily shut the door, feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. For the first time in days, she slept, a deep, dreamless sleep. Morning sunlight flooded the room, bringing the stark reality of what had happened. Emily took a long shower, slipped into jeans and a soft sweater, and was sipping coffee when another knock came. This time it was Michael. He looked rough, eyes bloodshot, still in last night's clothes. "Emily, please, let me explain," he said as she opened the door. She crossed her arms, keeping the door half closed. "You here alone, or is Jessica waiting in the car?" Michael flinched. "I ended it with her last night. I swear it was a mistake, the biggest mistake of my life." Emily arched a brow. "A mistake that lasted almost a year, Michael. I saw everything. The texts, the Savannah plans, the condo you two were eyeing." He seemed to shrink. "You knew all that? Everything? And the worst part? You looked me in the eyes every day, kissed me, asked about my day, while building a life with her." Michael sank into a chair, hands over his face. "It wasn't real, Emily. What I had with Jessica was an escape. But I love you, I love Lily, I can't lose you." Emily's anger flared, but she kept it in check. "You don't love me, Michael. You love the idea of me, the perfect wife who never asks questions, who's always there for you. But I'm not that woman anymore. And Lily? How do you think she'll feel knowing her dad chose another life?" He looked up, tears streaming. "I'll do anything. Therapy, complete openness, whatever you want. Just give me a chance." Emily searched his face for the man she'd loved for so long. All she saw was a stranger who'd chosen to hurt her again and again. "You had 12 years of chances, Michael. Every lie was a choice. Now I'm choosing myself." He tried to argue, but she cut him off. "You have until Monday to move out. Don't contact me until then." Michael left, defeated, and Emily closed the door, her heart racing. The decision felt right, but the pain lingered. She spent the day in the hotel, jotting down thoughts, planning how to talk to Lily. She called her mum, Ellen, who was watching Lily, and asked her to keep things normal for now. That afternoon, David texted, "You okay? Got a room at the hotel, up for coffee?" Emily agreed, and they met at the hotel cafe. He looked as tired as she felt, but there was a spark of resilience in his eyes. "Talked to Jessica today," he said, stirring his coffee. "She wants to fix things, but I don't know if I can. It's not just the affair, it's the lies for so long." Emily nodded. "That's what cuts deepest. The trust they shattered doesn't just come back. They talked about moving forward, about rebuilding after betrayal." David admitted feeling ashamed for missing the signs, but Emily stopped him. "Don't blame yourself. They chose to deceive us. The shame's on them." The conversation flowed easily, and for a moment Emily forgot her pain. They laughed about David's odd habit of adding cinnamon to his coffee, which she found bizarre. When they parted, she felt something new. Hope. Not for romance, but for life's unexpected gifts. On Sunday, Emily went home. Michael was gone, but he'd left a note promising to move out by Monday. The house felt different, like it had lost its warmth. Emily spent the day organizing Lily's things, bracing for the talk ahead. When Lily arrived, dropped off by Ellen, Emily hugged her tightly. "Mum, you okay?" Lily asked, her big eyes searching. "I will be, sweetheart," Emily said, determined to protect her but be honest. That night, David called. Just checking if you got home okay, and thanks, Emily. You helped me see I deserve better. Emily smiled into the phone. You helped me too, David. We'll get through this, okay? They laughed, agreeing to meet again, maybe for coffee without the shadow of betrayal. Emily went to bed with a new feeling. Even with a bruised heart, she was starting to find herself again. Monday dawned with a grey sky over Atlanta, as if the city mirrored the heaviness in Emily's heart. She woke before her alarm, staring at the ceiling of a bedroom now too quiet without Michael. The house, once alive with Lily's giggles, rushed morning chats and silly arguments over who left dishes in the sink, felt like a museum of memories that no longer fit her. Emily got up, put on tailored slacks and a crisp blouse and brewed a strong coffee. She needed strength for the day, dropping Lily at school, talking to her daughter about the separation, and returning to work. As the coffee maker hummed, she checked her phone and saw a text from David. Morning, Emily. Hope you're holding up. If you need coffee or a vent session, let me know. Stay strong. Touched by his kindness, she replied, Thanks, David. Wishing you strength, too. Let's keep in touch. She pocketed the phone and focused on the moment. Lily came downstairs, still in pajamas, clutching the stuffed bunny Michael gave her for her last birthday. Mom, where's Dad? She asked, rubbing her eyes. Emily's chest tightened, but she kept her tone light. He had to go on a trip, sweetie. Let's have breakfast together. I made your favorite blueberry muffins. Lily nodded, but her curious eyes hinted she sensed something off. On the drive to school, Lily sang along to a song from her drama club, giving Emily time to gather her thoughts. She decided to talk to Lily that evening, when they could be alone, with care and calm. After dropping Lily off, Emily drove to her office, a landscaping firm that designed green spaces for offices and communities. The space filled with plants and vibrant sketches usually soothed her, but today she felt on edge. Her colleagues noticed her forced smile and quiet replies, but didn't pry. Emily dove into work, reviewing plans and meeting clients, using routine to anchor her chaos. At lunch, alone in the break room, she opened Instagram and, on impulse, searched Jessica's profile. It was private now, but the profile picture showed Jessica beaming on a beach, hair blowing in the wind. Emily felt a flash of anger, then, surprisingly, pity. Jessica may have torn apart Emily's marriage, but she was also facing her own reckoning. Emily closed the app, vowing not to let those thoughts consume her. That afternoon, her mom, Ellen, called. At 60, Ellen was Emily's rock. Honey, you okay? Lily's fine with me, but she's noticing Michael's not around. Want me to come over tonight? Emily sighed. Yeah, Mom, I think I'll need you. I'm talking to Lily tonight. I don't know how to do this without hurting her. Ellen, with her seasoned wisdom, said, You'll find the words, Em. Be honest, but show her she's not alone. Kids feel more than we think. The call gave Emily a boost of courage. Back home, she found proof Michael had kept his word. His clothes were gone from the closet and he'd left a note on the counter. Emily, I respected your request and moved out. I won't bother you, but I want to talk about Lily. Let me know when you're ready. I'm sorry. She crumpled the note and tossed it, feeling relief tinged with sorrow. That evening, after dinner, Emily sat with Lily on the living room couch. Lily, in unicorn pajamas, sipped hot cocoa. Sweetie, I need to tell you something important, Emily began, voice steady. Dad and I aren't going to live together anymore. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt others, even if they don't mean to. And Dad did something that made me really sad. But this doesn't change how much he loves you or how much I do. Lily frowned, processing. Did he do something bad? Like when I broke your mug and said it wasn't me? Emily smiled through the ache. Something like that, but bigger. The important thing is, none of this is your fault, okay? And I'll always be here for you. Lily curled into her mum's lap, eyes teary. Will you be sad forever, Mum? Emily kissed her forehead. No, honey. Sadness fades, and we'll find ways to be happy again. I promise. That night, as Lily slept, Emily felt proud for taking the first step. Over the next few days, life began to settle. Michael called to talk to Lily, keeping things light, and Emily avoided direct contact, handling practical matters via email. At work, she threw herself into a new project, a sensory garden for a school for kids with special needs, a job that gave her purpose. It was then that David reappeared. He texted on Thursday, suggesting a weekend meetup. "How about lunch Saturday? Found a spot in Midtown with killer mac and cheese. I'll skip the cinnamon coffee." Emily laughed, surprised by the lightness his message brought. She agreed, clear with herself it was just friendship. On Saturday, she met David at a cozy eatery with exposed brick walls and herb planters. He looked more at ease, in a polo shirt and glasses that gave him a relaxed vibe. "You seem lighter," Emily noted as they waited for their food. David smiled, trying to be. "Met with a lawyer this week thinking about divorce. It's tough but feels right." Emily nodded. "Same here. Hired a lawyer for the divorce. I want it fair, especially for Lily." Their talk flowed effortlessly, like old friends. David shared a new project, a green condo complex with integrated parks, and asked about her sensory garden. "Ever thought about tackling big projects like mine?" he asked, eyes bright. "We could make something amazing together." Emily laughed, caught off guard. "Are you pitching me a job or just showing off?" "Bit of both," he admitted with a grin. Lunch stretched on, and as they walked to her car, David said, "It was good seeing you smile today, Emily. You deserve that." Her cheeks warmed, but she replied honestly, "You too, David." Over the next months, Emily's life found a new rhythm. The divorce moved forward, with agreements on Lily's custody and asset splits. Michael settled into an apartment in Decatur and tried to win Emily back with texts and gestures, but she stayed firm, focused on rebuilding. Lily adjusted slowly, splitting time between parents and finding solace in her drama club, where she landed a lead role. David became a steady presence but understated. They met for coffee, lunch, and eventually collaborated on a park for his condo project in Roswell. Working together sparked a surprising chemistry. David's pragmatism meshed with Emily's vision, and meetings often ended in laughter and life talk. One evening, after a long meeting, David invited her to a jazz club in Little 5 Points. "You said you love jazz, right? Let's have a night without work or exes." Emily hesitated, but the idea of music and escape won her over. She went in a flowy dress and flats, and the night was electric. The saxophone wailed, the crowd swayed, and David, a terrible dancer but game, kept her laughing. Dropping her off at home, he noticed her thoughtful look. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah, just thinking life's funny. Sometimes what breaks you leads to places you never expected." He smiled, eyes locked on hers. "Yeah, life's got a way of surprising you." Emily went inside, heart light but full of questions. Was she ready for something new? How would Lily feel? She decided to take it slow, letting things unfold. Meanwhile, the park project with David progressed, and the sensory garden neared completion. Lily sometimes tagged along to the site, planting seedlings and asking about every flower. One day she said, "Mom, David's cool. He showed me how to tell a fern from a daisy. Dad never did stuff like that." Emily felt a pang but also gratitude. David was building a bond with Lily, something she cherished. As the divorce finalized, Emily felt the past slipping away. Michael, though still reaching out, seemed to accept the end. He tried to be a good dad to Lily, and Emily, despite the pain, knew it was best for their daughter. One night, cleaning the house, she found an old wedding photo. She looked at the 26-year-old Emily, beaming beside Michael, and felt an unexpected peace. That woman was gone, but the one here now was stronger, whole. She tucked the photo into a box, closing that chapter. David, too, moved forward. He finalized his divorce from Jessica, who'd moved to another state, and found stability in his friendship with Emily. Their meetups grew more frequent, their talks deeper. One night over dinner at her place with Lily asleep, David took her hand. "You changed my life, Emily. Not just by showing me the truth, but by reminding me there's still good to believe in." Her heart raced, but she didn't pull away. "You changed mine too, David. But I'm scared. Of messing up again, of hurting Lily." He squeezed her hand. "We don't have to rush. I just want to be by your side, at your pace." That night marked a shift, fragile but full of promise. Emily knew this love would be different, built on truth, not illusions. Spring swept into Atlanta with warm breezes and blooming dogwoods, mirroring the renewal in Emily's life. The divorce with Michael was done, with shared custody of Lily and assets split fairly. The Buckhead house, now just hers and Lily's, took on new life, colourful planters with ferns, local art on the walls, a small herb garden on the deck that Lily tended proudly. Emily was making the space her own, a home that told her story, not one tied to a broken marriage. At work, the sensory garden for the school was nearly complete, and the park with David in Roswell was thriving. Meetings with him were a highlight, not just for the joy of creating, but for their growing bond. David listened in a way that made Emily feel truly seen, a stark contrast to her years with Michael. He asked about her ideas, chuckled at her quips, and shared his own dreams with a passion that inspired her. Still, Emily held back, not from doubt, but to protect what she was building, for herself, Lily, and maybe David. One afternoon, as they wrapped up the Roswell project, David surprised her. "What if we took Lily to a picnic at Piedmont Park this Sunday? I could use some fresh air and I bet she'd love it." Emily paused, knowing this was a big step. "You ready for a 10-year-old grilling you with questions?" she teased. David grinned. "I'll manage. If she stumps me, I'm passing the buck to you." The picnic was a hit. Lily raced across the grass with a kite David brought, while Emily spread a blanket and unpacked sandwiches, lemonade, and Lily's favorite oatmeal cookies. David was patient, teaching Lily to fly the kite and answering her questions like, "Why do clouds look like cotton candy?" with humor and curiosity. Emily watched, heart full but cautious. Lily was growing fond of David, and she needed to be sure any move forward was solid. Driving home with Lily asleep in the back, David glanced at Emily. "She's amazing, you know, just like her mum." Emily smiled, blushing. "You're great with her, David. That means a lot." He looked at the road, a faint flush on his cheeks. "I like being with you both. It's different. Good." That simple moment lingered with Emily as a turning point. Over the next months, David wove into their lives naturally. He helped Lily with a science project, took them for burgers at a retro diner in Virginia Highland, and cheered at Lily's drama club play, clapping loudly for her solo. Emily noticed his care in respecting their boundaries, which deepened her trust. Still, she wondered if she was ready for love again. The fear of past mistakes loomed, but David's presence reminded her love could be lighter, truer. One night, over dinner at her place with Lily in bed, David brought up a topic he'd avoided. "Talked to Jessica last week," he said, swirling his wine. "She's in Charleston now, working at a new agency. Apologized, said she's trying to change. Not sure I buy it, but I think I closed that door for good." Emily nodded, surprised by her calm at hearing Jessica's name. "How do you feel about it?" David paused. "Relieved. Not because she's gone, but because I know I deserve better. You? How's it with Michael?" She sighed, watching the candle flicker. "He's a good dad to Lily, which is what matters. But with me, it's over. Sometimes I miss who we were, but not who he became." David reached across the table, touching her hand. "You're one of the strongest people I know, Emily. Not just for handling this, but for rebuilding yourself." Emily squeezed his hand, warmth spreading beyond the wine. "You too, David. We're rebuilding together, aren't we?" He smiled, and for the first time, Emily felt ready to let go of fear. In that moment, she chose to try, not rushing, but with an open heart. Her relationship with David grew slowly, like a seedling taking root. They saw each other more often, as a couple now, but without heavy labels. Emily introduced David to Lily as someone really special, and Lily, with her childlike wisdom, accepted it with a grin. "If he makes you laugh, Mom, it's okay," she said, returning to her sketches. Emily laughed, relieved, realizing Lily was more ready for the future than she was. At work, the Roswell Park was unveiled in a big community event. Residents, colleagues, and Emily's clients attended, awed by the space-blending function and beauty. Fruit trees, herb beds, wooden benches, and a small pond created an oasis amid concrete. During the opening, David gave a speech, thanking the team and praising Emily's vision. "This park isn't just a project. It's a reminder that with care and effort, we can transform any space or any life." Emily, standing with Lily, felt tears well, knowing the words were for her too. After the event, David pulled her to a quiet corner of the park, where a small plaque read, "Harmony Park by Emily Harper, she gasped. "You did this without telling me." David shrugged shyly. "Wanted it to be a surprise. This park is yours, Emily, not just for your talent, but for what you mean to me and so many others." She hugged him, tears falling, but happy ones. That moment sealed something between them, a vow to build a future together, with care and love. Over the next months, Emily and David planned a more intertwined life. He invited her and Lily for a weekend at a cabin in Blue Ridge, where they cooked, played board games and swapped stories by a campfire. Lily, now calling him Dave easily, asked him to teach her better kite-making, and Emily watched, charmed by their bond. Her relationship with Michael, though never simple, stabilized. He accepted the marriage's end and focused on being a dad, taking Lily on outings and respecting Emily's boundaries. One night, during a custody handoff, he surprised her with a genuine apology. "I can't undo what I did, but I want you to be happy. Lily says you're smiling more. That gives me peace." Emily nodded, firm but without anger. "Thanks, Michael. Let's both move forward." Emily's life bloomed elsewhere too. She was invited to speak on sustainable landscaping at a college, a milestone that filled her with pride. Lily, inspired, started a sketchbook of garden designs, dreaming of being a plant architect like her mom. And David, with his quiet steadfastness, became the partner she never expected. He surprised her with small gestures like leaving a potted lavender at her door or slipping notes into her coat. "You're my favorite garden." A year after the fateful dinner at the rooftop bistro, Emily and David took a bigger step. Over dinner at her place, with Lily there, he knelt, not with a ring, but with a tiny lavender plant, Emily's favorite. "I'm not asking for anything you're not ready for," he said as Lily giggled. "But I want to grow something with you and Lily. A future, a family, whatever way you want. What do you say?" Emily, tears in her eyes, laughed and took the plant. "I think we've been growing that for a while, Dave." Lily rushed to hug them, shouting, "We're going to have a bigger garden." That moment, full of love and ease, marked a new chapter. Emily knew the road wouldn't be flawless, but with David and Lily by her side, she was ready for any season. Summer brought Atlanta a vibrant heat, with golden afternoons and nights begging for outdoor time, soaking in the city's lively pulse. For Emily, the season echoed the glow her life was regaining. The promise with David, symbolized by the lavender thriving on her deck, had become a sweet, steady reality. They weren't just planning a future, they were living it, day by day, with a harmony Emily once thought impossible after her marriage to Michael imploded. The Buckhead house, now a true home, rang with Lily's laughter, Emily and David's lively chats, and the occasional bark of a golden retriever puppy named Sunny, a surprise gift from David for Lily's 11th birthday. Emily watched Lily chase Sunny in the backyard, her heart swelling with certainty that despite everything, Lily was thriving, as resilient as the herbs she helped grow. At work, Emily was soaring. Her college talk on sustainable landscaping led to unexpected opportunities. An article for a design magazine and a chance to lead a major project, a public park in a revitalized East Atlanta neighborhood. The project, blending eco-friendliness, accessibility, and beauty, was the kind of challenge that fueled her. David, her biggest cheerleader, followed every step, offering ideas and celebrating her wins like they were his own. "You're reshaping the city, Emily," he'd say, pride making her blush. "I'm just the lucky guy with a front row seat." Their relationship, now a full-on romance, had a lightness Emily cherished. David didn't push for big leaps, but showed up with gestures louder than words. He'd snag tickets to a jazz festival she'd mentioned in passing, or spend hours helping Lily with a biology project, explaining photosynthesis with endless patience. Lily adored Dave, including him in her plans with a child's ease, asking him to take her to the aquarium or tell stories about his travels. Emily, once worried about Lily's reaction to a new man, saw that Lily viewed David as an addition, not a replacement for her dad. Michael kept a steady but distant role. He was a committed dad, taking Lily on weekend outings and showing up for school plays, but he honored Emily's boundaries. During a rare talk at a custody drop-off, he mentioned dating someone new, a co-worker he met at a conference. "Just wanted you to know out of respect," he said cautiously. Emily nodded, surprised by her lack of pain. "Good for you, Michael. I hope you're happy." The words were sincere, and she realized she was finally free of the past. One evening at a sushi spot in Inman Park, David caught her off guard. "What if we took a trip together? You, me, Lily, maybe the Outer Banks, somewhere chill, where we can relax and dream a bit." Emily paused, not from doubt but from the warmth of the idea. A family trip was a big deal, a sign they were building something lasting. "Lily would love it," she said, smiling. "So would I." They picked Nag's Head, a beach town with sandy shores and trails for adventure. The trip, set for Lily's summer break, became the house's big topic. Lily spent hours researching beaches and making lists of stuff to do with Dave, while Emily and David planned, chuckling at her wild ideas like swim with dolphins. Before the trip, Emily hit a rough patch. During a park project meeting, a planner harshly critiqued her design's feasibility. For the first time in months, she doubted herself. That night, venting to David, she let it out. "What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm taking on too much?" David took her hands, eyes steady. "Emily, you're more than good enough. You've rebuilt your life, made a home for Lily, and you're leaving a legacy. That guy? He's just scared he can't keep up with you." His words, so sure, melted her doubts. She hugged him, knowing she had a partner who lifted her up. The Nag's Head trip was everything they'd hoped. Lily loved the beaches, splashing in waves and collecting shells for a beach museum. Emily and David strolled hand in hand, hiking trails and finding hidden dunes. One night, with Lily asleep at the rental, they sat on the porch, listening to the ocean. "Ever think about what you want for the future?" David asked softly. Emily gazed at the stars. "I want Lily to grow up happy. I want to make a mark with my work. And I want to build something with you. Something that lasts." David smiled, pulling her close. "Then we're on the same road." Back in Atlanta, life hummed with fresh energy. The East Atlanta Park gained city backing, and Emily led with confidence that silenced critics. Lily planned her 12th birthday, insisting David help pick the theme. Secret Garden, inspired by her mum's work. David, game as ever, suggested paper lanterns and a cake with edible flowers, thrilling Lily. Emily watched, amazed at how seamlessly he fit into their lives. One day at David's office reviewing a new project, he pulled her aside. "Got a surprise," he said, grinning. He drove her to a vacant lot in West End, recently bought by his firm. "I want you to design something here, not just a park, but your vision. A plaza, a green space, whatever you dream up. And I want it to be ours, signed together." Emily was speechless, eyes welling. "David, this is huge. You mean it?" He laughed, cupping her face. "Dead serious. You inspire me, Emily. I want to create with you here and in life." The project, named Unity Plaza, became a career pinnacle and a testament to their bond. They spent months collaborating, sketching, and tackling hurdles. Emily poured in her love for spaces that connect people, with play areas, shaded benches, and an open stage for community events. David handled logistics, ensuring every detail shone. Lily, always around, added ideas like a butterfly-friendly flower patch. As the project grew, Emily realized she was living a love unlike any before. David wasn't perfect. He forgot anniversaries and got lost in spreadsheets, but he was honest, present, and made her laugh on tough days. One night, walking through the half-built Unity Plaza, David stopped under a tree Emily chose for the center. "Remember the lavender I gave you?" he asked, pulling out a small box. Emily's heart raced. "David, what's this?" He opened it, revealing a simple ring with a stone like new leaves. "It's not just a proposal, Emily. It's a promise. To be with you and Lily, to build a life together, to never let you doubt my love. Will you be my partner, in projects and everything else?" Emily laughed, tears falling. "You always do this in the middle of a construction site, don't you?" She took a breath, heart full. "Yes, David. I want to be your partner in everything." They embraced, the city's hum blending with crickets. Telling Lily, she squealed and started planning the coolest wedding ever, demanding Sonny be the ring pup. The engagement added new joy to Emily's life. They set the wedding for Unity Plaza. Once finished, a small ceremony with friends, family, and Lily as flower girl. Emily felt she was exactly where she belonged, not because life was flawless, but because she'd chosen love, courage, and truth. The past, with its pain and betrayal, was a faint shadow, proof that the brightest blooms grow from the hardest ground. Fall arrived in Atlanta with golden leaves drifting down, a season of change that echoed Emily's journey. Unity Plaza was nearly done, its winding paths, vibrant beds, and stage already drawing local buzz. The project, crafted with David's care, wasn't just a professional win, but a symbol of their love, rooted deep and ready to bear fruit. Emily's life, once shattered by Michael's betrayal, now glowed with a fullness she never dreamed possible. Lily, now 12, was radiant, juggling school, drama club, and time with Sunny, her loyal shadow. She grew closer to Dave, treating him with a mix of hero worship and affection that warmed Emily's heart. Her relationship with Michael had settled into a workable, if distant, routine. He showed up for Lily, taking her to movies and school events, and Emily kept their talks civil, centered on their daughter. The past no longer defined her. It was just a chapter that led to this moment of renewal. The engagement with David layered new happiness into Emily's days. They planned the wedding for early next year at Unity Plaza, a ceremony as unique as their story. Lily, thrilled to be flower girl, sketched decor ideas, insisting on tons of flowers and butterflies. David, ever patient, backed her plans while Emily laughed at their endless energy. "You've raised a mini landscape architect," David teased, and Emily shot back, "She takes after her mom." At work, Emily hit a career peak. Her magazine articles sparked buzz, leading to speaking gigs in other cities and a book deal on sustainable design. The East Atlanta park she led was thriving, with locals joining workshops to maintain it. Emily felt her work was more than a job. It was a calling to make the world greener, kinder. David, her constant champion, celebrated every step, from dinner dates at new bistros to notes tucked in her sketchbook. "You're my muse always." Their relationship, now as sturdy as the plaza's trees, was built on a trust Emily had never known. David was her partner in every sense, her friend, her confidant, the one who made her laugh with his vinyl obsession and shaky turntable, and who stood by her in doubt. One afternoon, checking final details at Unity Plaza before its opening, David stopped by the stage and took her hand. "Got something to show you," he said, eyes twinkling. He led her to a tucked-away spot, where a bronze plaque sat under a tarp. He pulled it back, revealing, "Unity Plaza, dedicated to Emily Harper and Lily, the roots of my heart." Emily gasped, tears spilling. "David, how'd you keep this from me?" He shrugged, grinning. "I've got my ways. This place is ours, Emily, but it's yours and Lily's especially. You taught me what real love is." She hugged him, the weight of the gesture sinking, concurrent linked decade in. It wasn't just a plaque. It was a vow etched for the future. Lily, bounding up with Sunny, squealed at the plaque. "Mom, we're famous!" Emily laughed, pulling her into a hug. "Not famous, sweetie, just happy." The plaza's opening was a community triumph. Hundreds came, from locals to city officials to Emily and David's friends. The stage hosted a kids' play with Lily shining, as Emily and David watched, hands clasped, beaming. In her opening speech, Emily spoke of connection and resilience. "This plaza is about unity, but also new beginnings," she said, glancing at David and Lily. "Life can knock you down, but it's in the roots we plant, with love, with courage, that we find strength to grow again." After, as families enjoyed the park, David took Emily and Lily to a quiet spot where butterflies flitted around Lily's flower patch. He looked nervous, a rarity. "One more surprise," he said, handing Emily an envelope. She raised a brow. "Another secret project," David chuckled, passing it over. "Open it." Inside were 3 plane tickets to Japan, set for next summer. "You always talked about Kyoto's gardens," he said, as Lily whooped. "And Lily wants to see temples and try real ramen. Thought we could do this as a family." Emily's heart swelled. Japan was an old dream, mentioned once in passing, yet David remembered. "You're unbelievable," she said, kissing him, as Lily groaned but laughed. The Japan trip became their big plan. Lily dove into researching Japanese culture, learning thank you and sketching Zen gardens. Emily focused on wedding prep, post-Japan, picking a floral dress and David a navy suit Lily deemed cool. The ceremony would be intimate, with Ellen, close friends, and Sonny as ring pup. As the wedding neared, Emily reflected on her path. 2 years ago she was broken, facing Michael's betrayal and an uncertain future. Now she was marrying David, a man who loved her with unflinching honesty. Lily, who could have been scarred by the divorce, was a dreamer ready to take on the world. And Emily, who once doubted her strength, knew she could build anything: parks, families, futures. The night before the wedding, Ellen sat with Emily on the deck, Lily asleep. "Honey, you're glowing," she said, holding her hand. "I always knew you were strong. But seeing you now, with David, Lily, all you've done, it's more than I could have hoped." Emily smiled, eyes misty. "Thanks, Mum, for believing in me when I didn't." The wedding day dawned clear, ideal for an outdoor event. Unity Plaza was adorned with lanterns, wildflowers, and ribbons swaying in the breeze. Lily, radiant in peach, scattered petals ahead of Emily. David waited under the plaza's central tree, his smile saying everything. As Emily reached him, he whispered, "You're my home, Emily." The ceremony was all laughter, tears, and moments to cherish. Lily gave an impromptu speech, calling Emily and David a garden that keeps growing, earning cheers. Sonny sat dutifully, his bow tie sparking giggles. After their heartfelt vows, Emily and David kissed, petals raining down. The party rolled on with music, dancing, and a jazz set Emily couldn't resist, pulling David onto the floor despite his clumsy moves. That night, as guests left, Emily and David strolled the quiet plaza under stars. "Ever think about how life got us here?" she asked, leaning into him. David smiled, kissing her forehead. "Every day. I'm grateful for every step, even the rough ones, because they led me to you and Lily." Months later, Japan was the cherry on their new life. They wandered Kyoto's gardens, inspiring Emily's next projects, and explored temples that awed Lily. One night, under Tokyo's cherry blossoms, David gave Emily a notebook. "For your dreams," he said. "The ones you've achieved and the ones to come. With you, anything's possible." Emily opened it, finding David's note on the first page. "To Emily, my partner, my love, my home, may our gardens never stop blooming." She closed it, tears of joy falling, knowing under those blossoms she'd found not just love, but a life worth every fight. Hey everyone, what did you think of Emily, David, and Lily's journey? On a scale of 0 to 10, what would you rate this story? If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories like this one. Thanks so much, and see you in the next video.